Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Jonathan's Room where nerdom rules and normalcy rules. Today I am actually going to do what I promised for once in my life. I'm going to be talking about Harry Potter and the Cursed Child. Now, there were some things that I liked about it, and then there were some things that I didn't like about it. But first of all, 19 years after the Battle of Hogwarts. It was always difficult being Harry Potter, and it isn't much easier now that he is an overworked employee of the Ministry of Magic, a husband and a father of three school-aged children. While Harry grapples with the past that refuses to stay where it belongs, his youngest son, Albus, must struggle with the weight of a family legacy he never wanted. As past and present fuse ominously, both father and son learn the uncomfortable truth. Sometimes darkness comes from unexpected places. So that's the inscription in the book. Now, let me just say this. The last Harry Potter book was out in '07, I believe. I might be wrong on my timeline, but I believe it was out in '07. So that was the final Harry Potter book. So I have major issues when it says 8th story 19 years later. I would have been, I don't know if they meant from the first story, which was published in 1995, or if they're talking since the last book came out, which I believe was in '07. Give me a minute. I'm going to Google it to make sure for sure that I'm right on my timeline. So I was right. It was published in 2007. So when it says 19 years later, it makes no sense to me. I agree with 9 years later, but 19 years, I disagree with. Another thing that I, I had issues with was you can tell that it's Harry Potter, but you can tell that it wasn't specifically written to be a Harry Potter story because it doesn't have the trademark little lightning mark on the H and the P. So um, it just it says Harry Potter, but it doesn't feel Harry Potter. And another thing that confused me, like I was hurt by a confundus spell or something, but it confuses the living heck out of me, is the picture on the book. There's wings there, and then there's a little boy inside the nest. Is that supposed to be Albus? Is that supposed to be Scorpius? I don't know. It makes no sense to me. But um, another thing that bugged me was some of the timelines that they had in the books. They were talking about the Tri-Wizard tournament that was in Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire, which was published in 2000, and they kept saying 1995, 1995, 1995, and the timeline for me just did not make sense. So it was hard for me to get through the timelines and actually get to enjoy the story as it was written. Um, the story itself is not bad. It had a very decent storyline. What happened was the Ministry of Magic find a time turner, and they keep it when they were supposed to destroy it. And so Albus and his friend Scorpius decides to go to the Ministry of Magic, steal the time turner, so they can rescue Cedric Diggory. Well, there's a plot behind that. And first, let me get into some of the beloved characters. We have um, shit. We have Hermione Granger, who has become um, Minister of Magic. Ronald, her wife, of course, Ron Weasley. He succeeds where his brothers left off with the Weasley joke shop. Harry becomes the head of uh, the magic crime enforcement type deal. I don't think it's the head or. I think that he's a ministry man for sure, but he's not what he wanted to be in the books. He's married to Jenny, and Jenny is she edits articles and the Daily Prophet, which is a newspaper. Um, and then they get into their kids. They only mention one of Hermione and Ron's children. They don't mention. I mean, they mention that she has brothers and stuff, but they don't bring her brothers in. Um, and that would be Rose Granger Weasley. So they talk about Rose a lot. She doesn't play a big part in it, but I mean, she's mentioned. Um, and then, of course, there's Albus, there's James, there's Lily. And the thing about this book is it's written the way that was supposed to be written. It's a script. So I get to see the play that was not brought to America and read it at the same time, because for me, when I read a book, I see the characters and I see it playing out, and I see how the characters form in my head, and I see how the scenes form out. And for me, it was a really quick read. I mean, I only bought the book on Friday and I got it done today. So it was a really quick read. Um, th- uh, the school scenes they went through really quick for me. I mean, it was really quick, and I guess it was kind of cool. And it's supposed to be in the play form, but even with the playing out scenes so quickly, it just to me it would be like, oh, this play was so quick. So it it was a really quick read, and it confused me. But the plot of the story was that they were supposed to try to bring Cedric back because um, I don't know how much I should get into it, but Voldemort and Bellatrix Lestrange had a daughter, and she tricked Albus and Scorpius into taking the time turner and going back to saving Cedric because she felt that if he was saved, then Voldemort would still succeed and come out. And then they failed twice. The second time, we got to see something that was kind of unexpected, and that was Voldemort's day. And what happened there was Harry Potter lost the Battle of Hogwarts. That's what they were calling it in the book. That final fight scene and in the Deathly Hollows, and in the movie, the final fight scene between Harry and Voldemort. Uh, it was they actually called it the Battle of Hogwarts, which could have been a little bit more creative, but it 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 had its meaning, and I understood what it was standing for. So anyway, she tricked them, and they failed twice. And then Scorpius got to see Voldemort Day, and he didn't like that. And he actually talked to Professor Snape, who was still alive because it was in the future or in the past, and um, Snape had helped him restore the future to what it was supposed to be. And then Delphi tricked him one more time and took him back um, to the final oh the final event of the Triwizards tournament where they tried to save Cedric, but they ended up not saving him. So uh, it was it was fun. And then she took him back to where Harry Potter was born, and she destroyed time the time uh, the time turner, and they thought they were trapped. Well, Albus gets the idea of taking the blanket that Harry's mother gave him and burning a message in there, and it goes to the future, and Harry finds it. And luckily for Harry, Draco Malfoy has the time turner, an extra time turner. Did I forget to mention that Scorpius was Malfoy's son? Oopsie daisy. Yeah, Scorpius is Malfoy's son. Naturally, he's in uh, Slytherin. Here's the kicker for you: Harry Potter was in Gryffindor, correct? His son Albus was in Slytherin. So that's kind of a twist in pace, and it was kind of hard for Albus to actually take in the fact that he was in Slytherin and he didn't have some of the skills that his dad had. I mean, he tried calling the broom up and it just didn't move. So he didn't inherit his dad's Quidditch skills. So it was kind of difficult for him to take that all in, and then he and his dad didn't have the best relationship towards the end of the book. But there were three things that I really liked. I liked the Tournament Day, Harry actually transfiguring into Voldemort. He got to actually feel what it was like to be Voldemort, and that was, to me, I felt like that was one of the biggest things that they could have done in one of the original books. But now that they do it in this play, I think that it's really cool, and it was a really neat concept and a really neat idea. Um, and then the third thing that I really enjoyed was Harry actually got to see something that he never got to see before. He got to see his parents get killed off. Now, I know that that sounds horrible to you, but I felt that if this was actually done in one of the original books, even if it was done in book 7, if he saw his parents getting killed in front of him when he was younger, I felt that it probably would have given him a little bit more motivation to find the Horcruxes faster, to defeat Voldemort faster, but that didn't happen. So it just seemed to me like it was a really good idea, and it's a shame that it happened so late in the game, and we had to wait 9 years for us to be able to see that. So it was kind of a shame, but more of all, um, I don't normally rate things on my show because I feel that it's kind of overrated to rate things, but I'm going to make a special exception for this because I felt like there could have been some things that could have been better. And, for avid Harry Potter fans, there were people who said that they loved it, and there were some people who said they didn't enjoy it. I enjoyed it, but I didn't necessarily love it. Um, it was a good story, and I liked the way that they had it, and I liked the way they ended it. But there were things that confused me, and when you want to have a story, and you want to involve more characters in there, you need to have a concise way of doing it. And I felt like it wasn't so concise. I felt like it was all over the place. So for me, it was an 8 out of 10. Um, and the reason why I say it was an 8 out of 10 was the story was an excellent story. It had an excellent plot line, and it was really really good. Um, but because of what I said, the timelines, I had major issues with the timelines. Um, I still have issues with the cover. I don't understand what's going on in the cover. So because of those issues that I have, I have to give it an 8 out of 10. But I think that pretty much does it for my review on Harry Potter and the Cursed Child. If you have any questions, hit me up by PM, hit me up on comments. I'm also on YouTube. I will post this on my personal page and on my page on Jonathan's Room. Uh, Hope you've been enjoying it. And from Jonathan's Room, see you later.